blown away by the things that you do and say, what comes out of your mouth. I love it. So I've seen you on the stage a couple of times. Myself, I have a travel agency, and in March, I had to make a quick plan about what I was going to do with my life. And I swore I would never, ever, ever do an MLM. It was like, hell no. And then I saw some of the things that you were saying, and I actually did. I looked for a company that was in a ground floor opportunity, and I thought, well, what have I got to lose? I'm not making money now. My agency's closed. And so I jumped in, and honestly, it has been the most delightful and best thing I've done. And I'm so inspired by the things you say, because so few people know this. I've called my accountant a few things when I've emailed your staff, which I won't repeat here to be recorded. But I think it's a really smart thing. So what I've done is I've invited my team and their guests to come on and to, first of all, hear from you how they can benefit with their tax, and then why other people should really be joining us in this business. So my team consists of people who have mostly other businesses and have had to pivot. And then we have a lot of doctors, clinicians on our team. So they either have a brick and mortar or they've gone virtual. So we just love to hear what you've got to say and why really it just makes sense for people to just buy a position in a company. And as you've said previously, even if you're not doing 101 things with it, it's smart. So I'm going to turn it over to you and blow us away.
Awesome. So I'll just tell everybody a little bit of background about me so you know who I am. My name's Courtney Epps. I am an accountant. I've been an accountant for the last 19 years, and I like to tell people more than just an accountant, I'm a tax strategist. So it's my job to find money. It's not my job to prepare your tax returns. Now, I have a staff that does tax preparation and bookkeeping and things like that, but I'm looking for money. I'm looking for inconsistencies. What was your prior accountant doing incorrectly, or what are you doing incorrectly to cost you more money? And I'll tell you why I love the network marketing industry. I'm not in it at all. But I am a huge advocate for the industry. And the reason why is, one, I was able to build my accounting practice back up through the network marketing industry. Back in 2011, I sold my business. The guy I sold it to stopped paying me. I lost everything. I was $250,000 in debt, and I had 3 small children at the time, and then added on 2 more children a couple months later when I ended up meeting my husband now. And so it was really hard for me, one, in a place, and I have 6 children now. So it was really hard for me to be in a place, one, where I'd failed and I didn't know where to go. And my parents actually got me involved in a network marketing business, and it was actually a travel company. And I fell in love with the aspect of I could help save a ton of people money in taxes here, and I could get new clients. That's what I saw. And so I ended up doing a tax return for someone in the company. At the time, I did not realize how beneficial it was to have a home-based business, but I did a tax return for this couple. One was an engineer, one was a nurse, and I was able to save them $4,100 more than they'd ever gotten back on their taxes. And so when I did that, that was really an eye-opener for me, that W-2 employees have no clue how much money that they're actually losing in taxes. And so I went on this journey to prove that the network marketing industry, whether you made a lot of money or not, was legitimate and it was a viable opportunity and you should be involved in it. And I ended up doing over 900 tax returns while I was in that company, and ended up moving to a nutrition company after that. And I did these returns, and I was able to show people where they would have been had they not been in their home-based business, and where they are today by having that home-based business. And after doing those tax returns, I could guarantee to save someone, if they were actually paying taxes, between $4,000 and $8,000 a year. And so that was huge for me. But I didn't do those tax returns to try to get people to be my clients. See, I told everybody every year, I'm not going to be an accountant anymore. You need to find somebody else, because I'm going to be doing network marketing full time. And I had some health issues back in 2017, and I thought the products that I was taking from the company stopped working, and I stopped building network marketing. And that's when I really started focusing out of necessity on my accounting practice full steam ahead. See, I hate accounting. Like, it was not something that I wanted to do for the rest of my life. It is not fun to prepare tax returns and do paperwork and deal with the IRS and state agencies all the time. That's why I wanted to do network marketing. But what I realized is that I have a superpower. I have a superpower in order to look at things and tell people what's missing when it comes to taxes. And if I can help people free up enough money to get involved in their own home-based business, then they can guarantee themselves tax savings along the way, then I could completely change the world. Because I don't know if you realize this, but the average person in America, the average household makes $61,000 a year, and they're going to pay $14,000 in taxes. And from that, the leftover is what's called take home, which is 46,000. Well, here's the issue. The cost of living in America on average is $53,000 a year. So that means that the average household is going in debt $7,000 a year to work 40 hours a week, 50 weeks a year to take 2 weeks paid vacation. And when I heard those statistics, that's when I realized crazy. I will tell you this, I was on my way to sign up and start building a network marketing business the day I heard those statistics by Grant Cardone. And I said, that's not what I'm supposed to do. What I'm supposed to do is I'm supposed to be an advocate for the network marketing industry, and I'm supposed to speak the truth. So if you will notice a lot of my Facebook message, when I speak, I'm speaking the truth. And God has given me an ability to be able to share with people things that the network marketing industry cannot share, things that the nutrition industry are not allowed to share. And at the end of the day, it has been a blessing and a gift. So I free up money for people so they can get involved in their own company. I help them stay in long enough to win because from the sheer tax advantages alone. And then from there, I help them keep more of their hard-earned money when they start making it. So what I have found, and I will just share this with you, is that the network marketing industry is the smartest thing that someone could do with their life. Not because like they need to quit their day job, not because they need to stop their career, but here's what happens when you get involved in a network marketing business or a home-based business for that matter. The advertising that goes along with it, I'm able, because I'm a speaker for the network marketing industry and for the entire, for Tony Robbins and Les Brown, I get to go around the country and I am constantly inundated and involved in telling people what I do. And because of that, that becomes everything that I do becomes a tax deduction. And that's exactly what you guys have in the network marketing space. So if you're a doctor in South Carolina, which I'm an accountant, but I'm all over the country, right? So if I was just based in South Carolina, I couldn't go to Hawaii and tell people why it was beneficial for me being a doctor or an accountant to go to Hawaii and talk to people there because I didn't necessarily have a license there. But if you're in network marketing, almost everything you do can become a tax deduction. So for me, it's a huge deal for people to get involved. Even if you have a brick and mortar business, there are things that you cannot write off by having a brick and mortar, such as commuting miles to and from work, such as your business use of home, such as like your swimming pool. You can hire your kids, you can have your kids be your employees, have them work for you. And if you have a swimming pool at home, you can actually write that swimming pool off as a 100% tax deductible fringe benefit. So there's lots of reasons you would have a home-based business. So I do want to share these statistics because I think they're super powerful. 46% of Americans don't have an extra $400 to their name. And 69% of Americans don't have an extra $1,000 to their name. That's why it's so important for them to have some sort of home-based business. But they don't understand. They don't comprehend. Rachel Hollis just literally posted a book just recently, her last book that she brought out. Don't spend $700 on joining a home-based business or a network marketing company when you don't have any money. Well, I disagree with that. And let me explain why. Because until you have some sort of business, you don't have the ability to take advantage of the tax deductions, and you don't have the ability to be inside the tax system that was created for the wealthy. So there are two tax systems in this country. Not sure if you realize that or not. A lot of people think there's one for the rich, one for the poor. That's not true. There's one that was created to steal wealth away, and that is truly the W-2 employee tax system. And there's one that was created to provide wealth, and that is the business owner tax system. And so when you become a business owner attempting to earn an income, and per the IRS, that's putting in 3 to 5 days a week, 45 minutes a day, uh, doing something called daily business building activities. So that just means telling people what you're doing. It's not making money, it's telling people what you're doing. And by sheerly doing that, now you're attempting to earn income, and you have the ability to now redirect your living expenses, things you're spending money on every single day, and you get to write those off as business expenses. So why is that important? We all have cell phone bills, we have internet, we have medical bills, medical insurance, we have taxes, we have office supplies, we have legal and professional services, we all have a home that we can have a home office in. All of these, a lot of us have children on here, so you can hire your kids. So all of these things that you're already spending as a W-2 employee, if you are one, now become a business deduction, and they offset against any income that you have. So on paper, a lot of times, especially in the first couple years, you show a loss, and that actually offsets any income that you have. So it could be W-2 income, that could be rental income. So it offsets against any other income that you have, and now you're paying less in taxes. So I'll give you an example. I think it works very, very well. I had a client that came to me. They were making $140,000 a year total. So the husband was making 85, the wife was making 55. They got a pay increase of 35,000. So they went from 105 to 140, and they wanted to know how much money it was going to cost them in taxes. And so they came to my house at the time, because I ran my business, my actual accounting practice, for 9 years out of my home. And I was forced. Code enforcement actually came in one day and said, you cannot have 13 employees working out of your house. You have got to relocate. And I'm like, this is not fair, because I want to be at home with my 6 children, homeschooling them. I want my employees to be there, but I complied. So they said, well, you can be here, but your employees can't. So they came to my house, this couple did, and we determined that out of the 140,000, they'd gotten a pay increase of 35. They were only going to keep 13,000 of that. They were going to end up paying $22,000 in taxes. And they were really upset. So I said, you know what if we did away with one? What if we kept the 85 and we did away with the 55,000? How much money would that actually bring you home? And we determined that out of the $55,000 paycheck that lady was making, she was only bringing home $1,800 a month, or $21,000 a year. So $34,000 extra was going to pay taxes. See, it's about how much money you keep. It's not about how much money you make at the end of the day. And so I said, you know what? You would be better off for your husband to keep his job at $85,000 a year, and for you to join a home-based business, make $1,000 a month in that home-based business, staying at home with your family. And then you would, without a shadow of a doubt, have at least $25,000 worth of tax deductions that year. See, because it's not extra money. It's meals, mileage, cell phone, internet, business use at home, and products. You're going to buy products anyway. They might as well be tax deductible and being able to buy them at wholesale. So that minimum $25,000 a year in taxes offsets all the income that she made. So it's very smart. She's in network marketing. She's making $12,000 a year. She's paying no taxes on it. Now she has an additional $13,000 a year in a loss on paper that then offsets against her husband's income. And now her husband is keeping more of his hard-earned money. And they're in the same situation as they would have been had she made $55,000 a year in a paycheck. See, guys, that's what people don't understand yet. And there are so many ways when you become a business owner to be able to bypass taxes. I've been an accountant for 19 years. I just recently got my EA only because I didn't have time to waste to go pass a test. So I just received the highest credential. Most people think that's a CPA. An actual enrolled agent is the only credential that you can actually get from the IRS. So it says you pretty much know what you're doing when it comes to taxes. And a CPA is a state board level. So most people don't realize that. And most people have no clue that a CPA abides by something called a Circular 230 rule. And they cannot be overly aggressive with your tax return. And if they are, they can lose their rights to ever file a tax return again. So if you've ever gone to an accountant and they've scared you to death and told you that network marketing is not legitimate, or if you claim business use of your home, it's going to trigger an audit, that's a lie. I've never in 19 years had a client audited for business use of your home. And I just finished up a 45-minute audit with a client that prepared her own tax return and no changes made, because we found more deductions than what she actually claimed. And so at the end of the day, I want you to understand, I don't want you to be scared. And I think people live their life and they're scared to death. They're scared of all kinds of things. The only thing I can see that a network marketing company will do for you is it's going to give you the ability to have amazing products that you can't find anywhere else, because just sheerly there has to be education that goes along with those products. First and foremost, you're going to get continuing education. That one is a tax deduction, but it also allows you to take the next level. See, if it had not been for network marketing, I would not have even known what personal growth and development was. And now I speak for Tony Robbins. Like, I didn't even know who Tony Robbins was prior to being involved in network marketing industry. And so on top of that, now our business with zero marketing and advertising went from 2013 of us making $9,000 in accounting to us making $2.5 million this year. And that was specifically from network marketing. So I love the industry. It's changed everything about our life. It's allowed me to see things in a light that most accountants never get to see. And I've been out there. I've been 18 hours a day doing presentation after presentation after presentation. And I love it. And what you guys are doing, like, some people say it's hard. It's not hard. Accounting is hard. Being a doctor is hard. You know, trying to do research, that's hard. Talking to people how you can change their life, how you can help them free up money, that's the guarantee. But then on top of that, they may make an extra $300 to $500 a month, or $3,000 to $5,000 a month, or some of my clients are making $2 million a month at 30 years old. They could change their life. They could change the history of their family tree. And that's exactly what we're doing, is we're helping people understand that it is a viable, amazing opportunity. You get the support that you need. You get the marketing materials. You get the products. You get everything you need in order to be successful for nothing. Like, it's minimal how much it costs to get started in a network marketing business, and you have nothing to lose unless you quit. Because at the end of the day, if you're involved in a company and now you're saving $4,000 to $8,000 a year in taxes, I don't know of a single network marketing company that costs more than that to be involved in. Now you're saving money in taxes, you're getting amazing products, and you're around like-minded individuals who want something better for their life than just going home and watching TV at the end of the day. They want to help make a shift. They want to help make massive change. And then on top of that, you get to a point where we're at today. So you go from survival, which is where I was at for a really long time, to thriving, and then you start serving. Because the reason why people stay in network marketing and they continue to build, and they love what they're doing, and they're sharing it and sharing it and sharing it, I thought a lot of them, and some of them do, I'm sure, care about money. But you get to a point where one day the money is enough and you're just helping other people. See, I don't charge to be on this call. I have a mission that I'm on, and it's to teach more how to save more money. Because if you don't have the money in order to get involved in something or to buy the products that you need, what's the point? So you've got to teach more how to save more so that they can have more, they can live more. And then the true meaning of life is giving more. And then in turn, I can then nourish more children. I can provide safe drinking water and more nourishment. And I then can free more children. And that's the true meaning of life. That's how I live every single day. And so I urge you to find something. One of the tax deductions that I love, on top of hiring your kids, is a huge deal. But the second is something called social giving, social business. is giving from a gross income level for every dollar that you bring in. This is a huge tax deduction for you guys to know. And we can talk about some more. If you have questions, I'll be glad to answer them. But social business is giving from a gross income level, kind of like Tom's Shoes or Warby Parker. And if you give from a gross income level and you combine your passion and your profits, what happens is not only does your business skyrocket because it's no longer just about money, but it's about impact, but it's also saving you money in taxes. So what we did, April 2018, April 16, 2018, we started providing a serving of whole food plant-based nutrition for every dollar that came into our accounting practice. And next week, we will hit 3 million servings of nutrition that we provide to medically fragile children and children in orphanages who are severely malnourished. And that is my mission in life. Every day I wake up knowing I'm going to provide at least 9,000 children a day with fresh, with nutrition. Then we added in another nonprofit and we provide fresh water. So we at least provide 53 people a day with fresh water. And then we free a child from sex trafficking through Operation Underground Railroad every 3 days. And so that's my mission in life. But I have to help other people have a mission and a purpose. And it starts with freeing up money. So, and I've not found anything better than having some sort of home-based business. And because when you start, that's your first step. See, for 19 years, I've not had to pay taxes for 19 years. And, you know, and I always wanted to be a doctor. That was one of the things. I wanted to be an anesthesiologist. Ended up falling in love, deciding not to go to school to be an anesthesiologist, became an accountant instead. But what I realized is that it is not about how much money you make. It's about how much money you keep. And as a W-2 employee, most of the time, you're stuck in a rut where you don't get to choose how much money you pay in taxes. So if you have a home-based business, you can offset a lot of that. Another thing, and this is like high-level stuff, if you're a high-income earner, whether it's network marketing or W-2 income, you can actually institute something called a conservation easement. It's one of the reasons why Donald Trump doesn't pay taxes, a lot of taxes. He still pays taxes, but he gives land to the government every year, and it's a huge multiple. And you can actually do that with programs. There are programs in place that allows you to take money and put it into land that goes to the government, and you get a 5-time multiple on the amount of money that you're making. So when you start making lots of money, we can teach you how to keep more of that money. One of the things I will tell you today is if you are making any amount of money, let's say $1,000 a month. Once you get to a point where you're making $1,000 a month in gross income from any business, don't care what it is, you need to have an LLC, which is a limited liability company. If you have an S Corp, that's okay. That's fine. It just costs more money to have an S Corporation. So I'm not even going to discuss that. But if you have an LLC, you are entitled to treat that LLC as one of two things. You can either treat it as a sole proprietorship, or you can treat it as an S Corp election. Once you get to a point where you're making $1,000 a month in net income, meaning after expenses, you need an S Corp election. And the reason why is because you're going to massively wipe out 80% of your self-employment taxes. See, if I made 50 grand a year, net income after expenses as a Schedule C or a partnership or a sole proprietorship, I would have to pay federal and state taxes plus $7,600 in FICA taxes or FICA and Medicare. And then I would have to match those because I'm the employer and the employee. That's called self-employment taxes. I can actually, so instead of paying that $7,600, I can actually have an LLC treated as an S corporation. Yes, it costs about $1,800 more a year to have that with all of the paperwork that goes along with it. But it also, instead of me paying $7,600, I would pay $1,500 in self-employment taxes. So as you get bigger and bigger, there are more and more things that you can write off on your taxes. But here's the last thing, and I'll shut up and you can ask me questions if you have any. I just want to make sure I get as much of this information out as possible. One of the things that most people don't realize is that you have the ability to almost write off everything. If you are good, and I'm really good at this, if you're good at tying in your personal life and your business life. So I'll give you an example. We recently bought a toy hauler, a $75,000 toy hauler, 44 foot. So it hauls our family, right?
It's beautiful, by the way. I saw pictures.
So we bought that, and my intent was, okay, this was during COVID. I want to be able to travel around the country, see my clients. I want to be able to have a place that I can actually do presentations from, and our party deck allows us to do that. But I also need a place for our family to stay while I'm traveling around the country. And I need a place to stay. So I bought a $75,000 toy hauler, put 10% down on that toy hauler, and that was 100% tax deduction this year. So it saved me $75,000 as far as tax. That's my tax deduction. Now, on top of that, I had to buy a truck to go along with it. I had to buy a 3500 HD dually truck, $75,000. Didn't have to pay a dime on that down payment. We just are paying the payment on it. That's $150,000 worth of tax deductions that I get the ability to write off this year. Okay, because if a vehicle's over 6,000 pounds, I can write off 100% of it in the first year, and so can you. So that saved me a truck. Does that make sense? Like, that saved me enough taxes to almost pay for the truck. So I'm in essence buying the things that I want and I need in my business, and then whatever's left over as far as my net income, I pay taxes on. Whereas as a W-2 employee, you have to make money, you pay taxes, you get no say so. And so you may say, well, I've got standard deduction or itemized deduction. Well, medical bills, medical insurance, most people get no benefit from, and it's very minimal if they do. But here's the great thing, you can add that back as a business expense. So if you pay a portion of your medical insurance through your employer, if you have medical bills, out of pocket prescriptions, out of pocket, over the counter drugs, all of that, chiropractic, acupuncture, all that stuff can actually come back as a business expense. So if you get benefit from it on a personal level, your medical bills and your medical insurance have to add up. And if you only get benefit over 7.5% of your AGI. So if you're making 100 grand, you can only claim more than $7,500 worth of your medical insurance and medical bills. So if you had 10,000, you'd only get a $2,500 deduction. Well, the problem with that is that the other parts of itemized deductions like property taxes, sales tax, income taxes, that's capped at 10 grand. Then you have mortgage interest, and then you have charitable contributions. Well, most of those can be pushed off as a business expense and become 100% tax deductible, as opposed to only getting minimal expenses over on itemized deductions. So guys, I guess what I'm trying to say in essence is there's so many things about being a business owner that are crucial. That's why I tell people you would be brain dead not to have some sort of home-based business. And it's first having a business. Well, you need a business. And if you can create all of your income from a business, that's great. If you can't and you have to be a W-2 employee, that's perfectly fine too. Just have some sort of home-based business. And if you are a business owner, I would implore upon you to find a way to take your business and be able to run it from your home in case something else happens. But then you also have all of these massive tax deductions to go along with it. And the easy way to do it is just have some sort of network marketing company, because 9 times out of 10, all you have to do is tell people about it. They're going to handle the rest of it from there. So I'm going to shut up now.
Courtney, that was wonderful. Thank you. There's a question here for you. Is it best to put the MLM in a company name or a personal name?
I would always put it in an LLC. I mean, if you're planning on building a business, you should have an LLC. And that LLC should then eventually be treated as an S corporation. But if it's in your personal name right now, that's fine. The minute you start making more than $1,000 a month gross, get an LLC and put it in that LLC name.
Okay, and is that something that your company doesn't handle that at all, but people can book a tax strategy session, which is what I did. They can do that with you, correct?
Yeah, we do. I mean, we do everything. So, I mean, you don't have to know how to do all this stuff. We want you to understand it, obviously. We explain it, but you know, the only thing you need to do is book a tax strategy session. And once you book that, and I'll put that in the chat here.
Thank you.
I put my link tree so you guys can find all kinds of information out about us. And it has a deduction spreadsheet in it that you can download. It's got a copy of my book. It'll take you to the website for my book. So all of that'll be in this link tree. Let me just find it. Go ahead. I'm listening.
Yeah, I have your book. It's fantastic. What is your plan B? I suggest everybody get that Courtney Epps book. It's wonderful. Dr. Dillahay says, my CPA said we only have 1 year to file for S Corp. Is that correct?
No, so you can go back. The IRS actually, and that, which I have no comprehension why accountants say this, other than the fact that they don't like dealing with prior year tax returns. But you can actually go back today, 3 years and 75 days ago, and you can treat your LLC as an S corporation for tax purposes. You can also go back and take a C corporation, and which is the worst thing you could possibly be as a C corporation, and you could push that into being an S corporation as well. So no, there's no 1 year rule. It's 3 years and 75 days from today. You can actually go back. So part of 17, all of 18, all of 19, obviously all of 20 can be treated as an S corporation for tax purposes. And if you have done that, and we can go back and amend that tax return. We probably amend 5 to 7 of those tax returns every single day and treat LLCs, go from Schedule C to an S corporation for clients.
To be honest, ever since I started listening to Courtney, first of all, my accountant lost his job. He doesn't know it yet, but I figured, I mean, most of these accountants are dumber than dirt. They don't understand the things that you're telling us. So that was a big realization for me. I mean, it's insane. So I would encourage everybody to just do a tax session with Courtney's staff and figure out where you're going. Who else had a question? I have a marketing business, but I don't know how to file our taxes with it. So whoever wrote that, I really suggest you book that session and let Courtney's staff look at that for you and advise you. Does anybody have anything else they'd like to ask? Courtney's time is valuable, so I don't want to keep her longer than we should.
You're all good.
Courtney, so for the doctors that are on our team so they would just get their network marketing or get their colleagues onto the team with them, and then because they're selling the products or giving products to their patients, that means their business, their practice gets that write-off. Is that how it works?
It can. I mean, that, you know, it would be easier just to put everything through the practice, which would be fine. You can generate another LLC if you want to, but there's no reason for you to do it. But this would allow you to have and take advantage of having a home-based business. So, you know, I love, and here's a great part. I'm assuming these products are nutraceuticals that you guys are doing.
Yes.
Which is awesome. So I fight that battle every single day only because I've been through so many health problems. If you'll look at my video yesterday on my Facebook page, I talk about the fact that I was supposed to have brain surgery 13 years ago. I was told that I had a pituitary tumor. They were going to put a stent in my brain to bypass the nerve in my brain that caused migraines. I was diagnosed with having fibromyalgia 9.5 years ago. I was diagnosed with having chronic migraines. That was 13 years ago. And I suffered from those for 10 years, and I took 6 to 8 Excedrin a day. I've had massive mercury poisoning from a dentist who capped a mercury filling. I've had mold poisoning and almost died from living in a house that was infested with mold that doctors knew nothing about. And they thought, yet again, I had another brain tumor. So I had IBS for 22 years and no medication, none. They all had massive side effects. I gave up on doctors, about 8 years ago, and I started really focusing on my health and nutrition. And I am so grateful today that I was able to understand nutrition and whole food, plant-based nutrition, and getting the proper nutrients in the body, because I was going on Social Security disability 9.5 years ago, but I refused to take any medications that the doctors gave me because I knew that it was toxic, and I knew it wasn't right for me. And so I'm grateful for the doctors who are stepping out. I am fighting
Yeah.
that battle right along with you. I'm just not making any money off of it. But I appreciate any doctors who are stepping out and realizing that, you know, sadly enough, drugs in our country, if they're approved by the FDA, are toxic by nature. They
Mhm.
have to be. And I actually talk about that in chapter 12 of my first book, More Relaxing, Less Taxing. And because I'm so adamant about that. And, you know, I just want people to understand that is that is a huge deal. So I appreciate you guys stepping out and doing what's right by patients, because it's hard. Like a lot of doctors, they don't they don't realize how crucial it is to put the proper nutrients and minerals in your body so your body can fight against its own sickness and disease as opposed to putting medication in.
Right, right. Yeah. Courtney, what is your opinion of Social Security? Does it look to you like it is going away? I mean, it's such a hot button. I mean, is it something that's really important for us to have or to pay less tax? I mean, how does it affect one really?
So the most people don't realize this, but only the first $11,520 a year that you make in income, 80, no, excuse me, 90% of that money goes into your fund for Social Security. 10% goes in someone else's. And as you make more money, like $11,520 to $69,000, only 32% of that money goes into your fund. 68% goes into someone else's. And after 69,000, 15% goes into your fund. So many people believe, well, you know, I'm putting all this money away, I'm putting all this money away, I'm making all this money. No, you're not. You're putting very minimal away into Social Security.
Wow.
So, you know, I'm not focused on deferring taxes. I'm focused on eliminating taxes. I'm not interested in 401ks, 403bs, or any sort of traditional IRA. I want to help people keep more of their money. I believe you're going to pay more in taxes 20 years from now than you are today. So the focus is how do I keep more of my money today and eliminate as much taxes as possible today and just go ahead and pay all the taxes that I owe as opposed to waiting till later. Because literally you and the IRS now own your 401k and your 403b and your retirement plan. Plus, you know, you've got a fiduciary that's getting some money off of that as well. So I'm not a radical thinker. It's just I'm a logical thinker. Like I want to make sure that we're doing everything in our power to make sure you're paying the least amount of taxes today, in the past, and in the future. And so I'm looking at it from a full scale spectrum as opposed to here's just the tax, here's just the financials, if that makes sense. But Social Security, it's not going to be here in my time. There's not enough money, and if it is, they're going to steal from taxes from people who are working in order to take it. So you're better off to go ahead and pay the taxes that you owe right now, the tax bracket that you're at, and focus on saving more money in taxes by having a home-based business and allowing that to be a nest egg for you later on. Did Elaine go away? I think Elaine went away. We lost her somehow. What are the pros and cons of filing jointly versus separately for married couples and if one of the parties is partnership has home-based business? If you file married filing separately, you will 99% of the time you will always overpay in taxes. So you being a business owner has nothing to do with whether you should file married filing jointly or separately. Most of the time it actually would help. I had a client last year that I did their tax return. Their accountant told them it would be a good idea for them to file separately. And so what happens is you have somebody who's a high income earner typically, and maybe you have somebody who's a business income earner, and they may not show on paper that they're making a lot of money. What happens is they offset each other. And so you can take the high income earner and pull them into a lower tax bracket. If you file married filing separately, you don't get child tax credit, earned income credit. You're not entitled to any of those. And so you're automatically putting yourself in a worse situation. But I had this one couple, I put them together last year, did nothing else. All I did was take his tax return, her tax return, combine them together, and it was $16,900 that they ever paid. We just had a client Last week, his wife had filed married filing separately. She claimed one of the kids on her tax return. We went to file his tax return. He was going to owe $85,000 as married filing separately. We said, look, send us her tax return. And he's like, he was scared because she pushed off hers because she had some student loan debt and it was lowering the payment amount. And I said, well, we need to at least look at it and see what would be beneficial. We combined the two, it saved them $35,000 in taxes. So now they're going to take the $35,000 and pay on the student loan so they can get the loan payment down. It's just people, it just doesn't make logical sense sometimes. People aren't thinking and they're just listening. So I want to educate you. So whether you use me or not is irrelevant. I want you to know the facts. Just the same way as you probably, especially if you're professionals, you want people to know the facts and understand it and be able to go educate themselves on it. And then they can make their own decisions. And then you decide, well, nobody else is saying this information, so maybe we should get back to Courtney. That's fine. But I still want you to have the education level.
Oh, we so appreciate it. Thank you very, very much.
You are welcome.
I'm going to push everybody over to you for a little tax session because I think that's vital. And then I'll be chatting to you soon. And I hope everybody got wonderful value out of this. And please follow Courtney on Facebook because she's always live, sprouting wisdom. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. And the one thing we do, every single industry, on the planet that you can think of. So we have a lot of doctors. We have a lot, I was a CFO for a plastic surgery center, 2 different plastic surgery centers, as well as, we have tons of chiropractors that we do accounting for, compounding pharmacists. So you name it, we do a lot of that. So we're not just network marketing. It's just, that has been a lot of our focus because nobody else likes to touch network marketing. And so we want to be that advocate, helping people understand that this is a great industry. So I hope you guys have an amazing day.
Thank you.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
I sent a question. Yes. Thank you so much for your time today. And I have a clinic and I am involving in an MLM. Is it better for me to separate and make another LLC for MLM, home-based?
It doesn't really matter. You can add that into your business, but now by adding that in, you now have a home-based business portion. So I'm all about simplifying things and making it easier. I would put it right underneath the umbrella that you already have.
Okay.
Thank
you so much.
All right, you are welcome. All right, guys, have an amazing day.
Thank you so much for everything you do.
You're welcome. Bye.
Take care.